story is a short, wide tale, and it tells why tortoises' shells are all in different sections with cracks in between. If you get a chance, after this story is told, find a picture of the back of a tortoise's shell. Well, once upon a time, there was a tortoise who loved to talk. He talked all day. He talked all night. He talked in his sleep. He talked to himself. He was always talking as he walked, and he would say, I wonder who I'll find today that I can talk to. We could talk about the sun, and we could talk about the moon. We could also talk about what we could have for lunch, or maybe what happened to my brother the other day. And he would go on and on and on and on and talk and talk and talk and talk. The other thing about this tortoise is that he always wanted to fly. And as he was walking along thinking, oh, I wish I could go up into the sky. I just wish I could fly just one more time and look down on the earth and see the absolutely beautiful earth from way up high. I really wish I could. And as he was walking along, he saw a flock of geese. And they were getting ready to fly away south for the winter. And he thought, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful if I could just go up and fly with them? And so he went and he said, please, can you take me with you? Well, the geese shook their heads and they said, a tortoise cannot fly. Oh, please, please, could you just figure out some way that you could fly me for just a little while and then put me down and I would walk back? And the geese thought and they said, well, we can only think of one way. And this is what would have to happen. I could take a stick and hold it with one end, and my friend could hold the stick at the other end, and you could take that hooked beak of yours and hook it around the stick. And then we would fly and lift you up, 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 and there you would be right in the middle, holding on to that stick with your hooked beak, but you cannot speak. Well, the tortoise was so excited. He said, of course I won't speak. I'll never say a word. I'll just keep my mouth shut. I'll just keep my beak hooked right up on that stick. I won't open my mouth. I won't say one single word. You can trust me. I promise, I promise, I promise. Well, the geese weren't quite sure, but they said, well, if you really want to and you think you can be quiet, please come early in the morning because we're leaving then. Well, that tortoise was so excited. It went home right away and went to sleep, but it could hardly sleep, and it talked about the wonderful things that it might see, and in the morning it hurried down, and there were the geese all ready to take off up into the sky. And there were the two geese, the stick in one beak and the stick in the other beak, and they said, hook on. And so the tortoise came up and he hooked on, and then the geese began to lift that stick, and they flew higher and higher and higher. And the tortoise was looking down and he thought, look at the most wonderful thing. And then he saw his friends and they weren't looking up. They were just going along with their business, not even bothering to look up into the sky. And he wanted them to see him. And so he looked and he looked and he watched and he waited for them to look up, but they never did. And as he was getting higher and higher up, he finally said, look at me. But of course, when he opened his beak, he tumbled down, over, flipping over and over and over and over and over until he fell right on his smooth-shelled back. Now, when he finally managed to flip himself over with the help of his friends, he didn't have a nice, smooth shell anymore. It had cracks in it. And that's why all the tortoises that you see have cracks on their shells. All because of the tortoise that just could not keep